Standard ramen serves noodles swimming in a light soup. Tsukemen separates the two. You get a plate of thick, chewy noodles, and you eat them by dipping them into a highly concentrated, intensely savory dipping broth. But building that concentrated sauce traditionally requires boiling pork bones and cartilage for upwards of 24 hours to extract the required flavor and texture. We are using specific culinary techniques, specifically pH manipulation and structural engineering, to target the same chemical markers found in traditional long-boil broths, but on an accelerated timeline. This process utilizes accessible ingredients: ground pork, grated aromatics, standard chicken stock, powdered gelatin, baking soda, and an umami blend of katsuobushi, dried shiitake, and saikyo miso. Replicating the experience of a specialty ramen shop involves breaking the recipe down into its molecular components, flavor extraction, and structural assembly. Step 1 is building the flavor base. Take dried shiitake mushrooms and katsuobushi, smoked skipjack tuna flakes, and pulverize them. Breaking them down into a fine powder maximizes surface area, allowing them to release their flavor instantly during the short simmer. Next, we prepare the base. Instead of chopping the aromatics, onion, carrot, ginger, and garlic, we grate them directly into a pan and mix them with ground pork. Grating creates a high-moisture paste that increases physical contact between the vegetables and the meat matrix. We introduce our first chemical intervention, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. This immediately raises the pH level, creating an alkaline environment. This accelerates the Maillard reaction, responsible for deep browning. By shifting the chemistry, we achieve rich caramelization in minutes. Continue stirring and crumbling the mixture over medium-high heat until all the moisture evaporates. Once it's dry, a dark, highly concentrated brown fond will form on the bottom of the pan. Manipulating the pH allows the ingredients to develop complex flavors immediately, decoupling the browning process from long, sustained cooking times. We now deglaze the pan with standard chicken stock. As the liquid simmers, it pulls the trapped flavor compounds off the metal and into the soup base. Traditional bone broths are thick because over 24 hours of boiling, rigid triple helix collagen structures slowly unspool into free-floating strands of gelatin. We reach that identical molecular state instantly by adding powdered gelatin directly, providing the heavy mouthfeel without the weight. After a short simmer, we pour the mixture through a mesh strainer, pressing hard on the solids to isolate a perfectly smooth liquid base. Now we add our flavor boosters, the pulverized shiitake and katsuobushi powder, a pinch of white pepper, and 2 tablespoons of saikyo miso. Finally, we use an immersion blender to mix the liquid. This forces the rendered pork fat and water to bind together, along with the natural emulsifiers in the miso, creating a unified, velvety liquid. By directly introducing gelatin and force emulsifying the fats, we assemble the broth's mouthfeel as a deliberate structural property. With the broth finished, boil the thick, fresh ramen noodles according to their package directions. Fresh noodles are coated in surface starch. If they go directly into the bowl from the pot, that starch will continue to absorb moisture and cook the noodles from the inside out, turning them to mush. We prevent this by plunging them directly into a bath of frosty ice water, aggressively tossing them with our hands. This thermal shock immediately halts the internal cooking process, while the rinsing mechanically strips away the gummy surface starch before it can degrade the noodle's texture. This creates the distinct bouncy texture required to hold up against a heavy, concentrated dipping sauce. Plating tsukemen requires 2 separate zones. Serve the hot, emulsified broth in a deep bowl and stage the cold, shocked noodles in a wider vessel. To eat, grip a small cluster of noodles and submerge them into the concentrated soup. Because of the engineered viscosity of the broth, the noodles emerge thoroughly coated in a thick, clinging layer of that savory emulsion. By applying these principles of food chemistry and mechanical structure, we can replicate a high-effort, legendary culinary tradition on a standard weeknight schedule.